multi-millions if you do it right.
And how to make $10,000 a month.
Your online business is going to have to make closer to 7 figures.
$3 million in just 6 months.
I made my first million at age 26, but if I followed the advice...
$0.
When I was a little kid, I used to say that when I grew up, I wanted to be so rich that I could live in a mansion that was so big that I needed a map to get around. And I wanted to be on a property that was so sprawling that I could have a guest house on it for every member of my family. I've always been a really ambitious person, and even back then, I guess I thought that this imaginary, opulent life was the way for me to show the world that I'm successful. And it's not like this goal came out of thin air, you know? We are constantly surrounded by reminders that money equals success. And so the more money you have, the more successful you must be, right? I'm not a child anymore, and I have to admit that while I do still have some really big dreams, they do look quite a bit different these days. Now, I don't really dream about mansions and guest houses anymore. Instead, I dream about living my days the way that I choose to live them and really building a life that I can live on my own terms. I dream about waking up every day without an alarm clock and working when and how I want to work and spending my days doing things that are meaningful to me. And I want to live a life where I can foster my creativity every day. Now, I want to be clear. I don't hold anything against the people who are out there championing multi-7-figure businesses and building empires in their niches. In fact, I've learned so much from some of those people when they share their perspectives and experiences online, and I really do love hearing and learning from them. But I've come to realize that I have to be careful about how I consume this type of content. Because when we keep hearing people talking again and again about how they turned their passions into millions of dollars, it can start to feel like you, too, are supposed to work towards that life. If I'm not careful, I can catch myself trying to figure out how I might find myself at the forefront of a multi-7-figure business one day, running a team of 20 people and leaving some great mark on the world. In these moments, I have to take a step back and ask myself, are those really my dreams, or am I adopting them from somebody else? I think that for many of us, no matter if you're working on building a creative business or some other entrepreneurial pursuit like I am, or if you plan to spend your career working more traditional jobs, when you really think about it, it's not the actual money that we're after, but rather the life that we can live if we have a certain amount of money. Take me and some of my goals, for example. In my dream life, I have complete freedom over my time. Instead of spending 40 plus hours per week working on projects that I'm not particularly passionate about, in my dream life, I spend that time working towards goals that absolutely light a fire inside me. In this life, I prioritize my creative pursuits like painting and video making every day. in my dream life, instead of starting every day with feelings of annoyance or even dread after being startled to consciousness by my alarm clock, I wake up every morning on my own, trusting that my body will know how much sleep it needs. In my dream life, I earn enough money to live comfortably enough to afford a house somewhere with trees and where I can hear birds singing, enough to buy groceries that nourish my body and to invest in my future, and enough to have a little extra, just for fun. I definitely need to make real money in order to actually live this dream life. But do I really need to be a multi-millionaire in order to live like this? When I think about the realities of the lives of the people sitting at the helm of those multi-seven-figure businesses, there are a lot of aspects of their daily existence that I know have no place in my personal dream life. So many of those people spend their entire lives embodying hustle culture, making their entire personality about the grind. At their core, many of the people running such large-scale businesses seem to be captivated by the relentless pursuit of more, always barreling past goals and milestones to reach the next highest summit. And listen, I'm so grateful that those people exist. The world is an amazing place because of some of the incredible things that people who grind nonstop are able to create. It's just when I find myself in seasons of life where I'm only focused on achieving the next big goal, it's practically inevitable that I'm left feeling unfulfilled, since I'm constantly trying to achieve the next big thing. The reality is that there will always be a next big thing. So, for now, instead of trying to find the fastest way to get to that point, I'm trying to focus more on allowing myself to just be. Instead of only working towards that next big revenue goal, I want to be motivated by the progress I've made towards my dream life. Now, as with anything, I think there's a good amount of nuance here that's worth talking about. I can only speak for myself, but my reality is that I am an ambitious person, and I do get satisfaction from setting and achieving big goals. I thrive when I have a target I'm working towards, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. It just means that I have to be very intentional about the goals I set, and I need to make sure that I have a strong why that's rooted in the way I actually want to live my life, not in the dreams that I feel like I'm supposed to have. So instead of falling into the trap of more, I choose to focus instead on enough. Two of my very favorite people in the online business world are Jason and Caroline Zook. And they've introduced me to the idea of the enough number. In case you haven't heard of this concept, let me explain. Basically, they suggest that you set two main revenue goals for your business, but it could also be applied to your life. The first is what they call your minimum monthly magic number, and the second is your enough number. So the minimum monthly magic number represents the bare minimum that you need in order to support yourself. When you make this amount of money, you can afford your rent or mortgage, your groceries and your car payment, and your basic necessities comfortably and reliably. And you can have a little extra for savings every month, but not much else. This is an important number to know because as long as you're bringing in that much money, you know that you'll be okay. And if you don't have a baseline established, you'll risk falling into the more mindset from the very beginning. Now, that second number, the enough number, is based on your minimum monthly magic number, and it represents a realistic idea of what you would need to make in order to live your dream life. You need to do some real soul searching in order to figure this one out. There are many people out there, especially in the online business world, who think, if I can just hit my first $1 million year or my first 6-figure month, then I'll have made it. But you have to ask yourself, why do you even want that? What can that money buy that you don't already have? How much money is enough to actually do the things that bring me joy and fulfillment and comfort and security? I don't know about you, but I don't think I need a Tesla or a mansion to feel those things. In fact, I think that having that level of wealth could actually pull me farther away from some of the things that I love in life. The beauty of an enough number is that once you reach it, you can just stay there. Now, I know that I'm young and naive and have very little experience in the realm of creative entrepreneurship in the grand scheme of things. But from what I've heard from people who have walked this road longer than I have, it's really common to instantly start reaching for a new target once you reach the one that used to seem like the ultimate goal once upon a time. It seems to me like when your money and growth goals are boundless, you're teeing yourself up for a life of constantly working more and grinding harder and sacrificing your free time just so that you can climb to that next peak. But what if, instead of constantly trying to figure out how to earn more and grow your business to beat whatever milestones you achieved the previous year, you just were happy to be exactly where you are already? This is the power of the enough number. It allows us to slow down, breathe, and actually be present for the journey. It allows us to truly enjoy the fruits of our labors and prioritize living our lives. At the end of the day, I do have big dreams for the future of my creative business. I do want to generate a healthy amount of revenue so that I can live a comfortable life. And I do find value in chasing a new target. But I think it's possible to do all of that while striving for enough instead of always working towards more. If you're interested in reading more about the concept of the enough number, I'll leave a link to an article about it in the description. And if you're a fellow creative entrepreneur, I would genuinely love to hear your thoughts about this topic. Have you ever thought about your own enough number? Have you done a goals audit recently to check whether there are any that you've been working towards that you may have unknowingly adopted from somebody else? So yeah, this is a really big topic, and I have so much to say about it, but I think I'll end it here for now. I really appreciate you for being here. Please give this video a like if you think I've earned it. And if you enjoyed this one, here's another one that I think you'll enjoy just as much. So with that, thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you next week for a new video. Take care, everybody.